I think we're live.
I think so. Hi, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube. So, welcome to the first meeting of May of the performance team. We have a small agenda. So, yeah, we can just start and edit. If you can add your name to the Google Docs, I would appreciate it. Let me share the document in here. Are there any announcements that anybody want to share before we start? Okay. There are 3 items on the agenda. The first agenda item is the session proposals for the next Collaborator Summit. The original issue is on the Jean added a link to the issue on the GitHub issue itself, and you can see. Actually, let me copy paste the correct one. This is the correct GitHub issue. I recently added just yesterday a couple of items that I wanted to talk, and if everybody's interested, then we can accept them and close this issue, because I think the summit is next week, right?
Yep, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So I mostly want to talk about 4 things. The first of them is ADA URL parser changes, because that's the most major change in terms of performance, I guess. The second thing is V8 fast API usages. Where should we use it? What are the limitations, and so on and so forth. The third one is adding fast paths and how we should look for optimizations. This is quite in depth, but just like a couple of minutes about maybe we can mention text encoder stuff. Why did we add UTF-8 fastpath, and why is it important, and how much impact did it have, and and this is more like a small educational talk that we could do. And the last one is the reducing CPP, so C++ to JavaScript calls, and moving certain functions to CPP. So this is mostly like what do we want to do? Why does the reducing the JavaScript CPP calls impact performance, and so on and so forth. And that will be all. Do you know the time limit of this session, Ulysses?
No, I think I read it somewhere, but I barely remember. I think it's maybe like short talks, if I remember well, like 50 minutes, half an hour, or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, worth to check. Maybe we can check it with Claudio. I think he's very up to date with this.
So yeah, actually it tracks here. Estimated duration of the session 1 hour. I think that's sufficient.
Okay.
And I think there are lots of additional things that people want to talk, and we can talk it. I will be attending remotely, so I still don't know how I'm going to connect, and so on and so forth. So
yeah,
if anybody is in Vancouver wants to help me out, I appreciate it.
Yeah, worth to check. Yeah, I think we have a similar challenge in the security working group with some of the topics that we suggested. I think for Rafael mostly. So Michael will just in place put like the computer and start like the streaming and HDMI connection and all of these kind of things. So yeah, anyone on the Collaborator Summit can give a hand, I think, on that. That should be fine.
So we could just close this issue.
Yep.
I guess the time has come to close this one. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so let me close the issue. The second issue is Ban and Dino comparison. In the last meeting, we are on a consensus that I was going to implement it. I didn't have any time in the past 2 weeks, but that's on my agenda. I think we could remove this from the performance agenda, and I will open it as soon as I have some.
Are there any
Yep.
like lists of things that we want to compare, or is that not there yet?
So
In terms of one binom or this comparison.
So I already have a couple of benchmarks that I developed, and the task was just moving this to performance repository. If you're interested, you can just copy paste and open a new pull request with the changes on my repository debugger, and I will greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
This is not like a specific benchmark, but like we want to learn where we are slow, and this means having multiple, sometimes useless benchmarks, because we don't know where we are slow. So this is more like a discovery phase of the benchmarks.
Yeah, makes sense.
We shouldn't. Most of my benchmarks are quite micro, and this actually led me to find certain issues with URL parser as well. So that's why I wanted to propose and add it to the performance repository. But like, if you find any other missing thing, like I want this to be like a collaborative environment, and anybody can add and say that Node.js is slower than Bon or Dino in this specific benchmark, and they could easily push it without any friction, and then we could investigate why it is slow in the first place. Would you like to move it, like, and do this task, Devadre?
I would like to give this a try. So far I see there's benchmarks on buffer, fetch, and string encoder decoders and URL. Is there no benchmark on like the most common thing that everybody talks about, HTTP performance? Should we add such a benchmark, or such a benchmark would be too macro or something?
We could add as much as benchmark as possible. The goal, like the initial goal, is to just put something in the performance repository, and then I think we should add lots of different benchmarks in order to find where we are slow.
Yeah, makes sense. Fine. Okay, thank you. I'll give this a try.
Okay, so I will remove the performance agenda on this issue. And the last one is fetch, which is an ongoing process. I don't think there's any issues, any progress or any changes on this. And we could just keep this in the performance agenda and continue looking out for it. Is that okay for everybody?
I think so. Yeah, there is. It's open for help. The one related to fetch. It's C++ based, or is JavaScript more based? Because I think it's like writing new benchmark, right?
It's JavaScript based. Like we could. So there are a couple of things. First of them is I don't think Undici's benchmarks are consistent, and it's a good baseline for finding performance impacts. The second thing is we don't know why we are slow. We know that we are slow. We assume that it's like mostly because of web streams and so on and so forth, but we need to make an investigation about, like, in-depth investigation after version 20 of Node, and saying that, okay, we're still lack in terms of this, and this, and yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, I would love to help if it's a good kind of first issue with some kind of guide to try to help with some of the testing and get familiar around it. So
yeah, so like I think Rafael has some information. Rafael did a pretty thorough investigation in the past. You can collaborate with him, and I'm pretty sure Rafael's like eager to help and like point you to the correct direction, and this would have a huge impact on the Node ecosystem as well.
Fantastic.
So yeah, I think this is it for today. Are there any other questions, concerns that you want to share?
Not from my side, at least.
Okay, then I think this is it for today. So thanks again for coming, and see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Mm.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.